story number 2. Ex-PlayStation boss says platform holders must do more to restore the AA games category. I'm pulling from Jordan Midler at VGC.
What is Sean Layden like? What is he building to? He's because I was on a Games Daily a month ago where he was like at Games Industry Cologne, I don't know, something where he said the same thing, and it's like fucking preach, but like it sounds like he's assembling the Avengers of AA games out there.
I'm pretty sure this was him. I think this is all coming from the same interview with Andy Robinson at VGC.
Yeah.
But he's just slowly like putting out the information
smart.
The article reads like this. Former PlayStation executive Sean Layden has said that platform holders must do more to reconstitute a AA category of gaming, as the cost of creating...
Unique Technique nails it. He's got AA. He put the AA Avengers. He put 2 A's in the front of Avengers. That's good. That's good, everybody.
As the cost of creating blockbuster games continues to increase. Layden, who during a 30-year career at Sony served as CEO of SIE America and chairman of Worldwide Studios, told VGC at Gamescom Asia that platform holders such as Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo must do more to foster games, quote, between the Grand Theft Auto layer and the Among Us layer, end quote. The former executive, who currently advises companies such as Tencent, believes that by encouraging the creation of smaller-scale games, platform holders can help alleviate the budget and team size issues currently facing the AAA games industry. Quote, game budgets are not going to remain in the triple-digit millions, Layden said. Let's say $20 million. With the current level of gaming development skill, it's gotten higher than it was 10 years ago. We have a talent pool that we can reach into with the right budget and lean into it for the variety. Don't make a bunch of AA first-person shooters set in World War II. That's not going to move the needle. But give us more interesting opportunities. Give me more things like Firewatch, those kind of games.
Or make Firewatch and get bought by Valve and never make another fucking game.
Layden believes that more variety is needed to tempt future players away from the established live service giants. According to a report this year, 60% of all playtime in 2023 was spent in games that are 6 years old or older. Quote, we're trying to get more people into playing games. Clearly, people are not playing games, and they're not playing games because they're not interested in what we're giving them. What we're giving them is sequels to the things they weren't interested in. I don't think that's going to get them through the door. Greg Miller, what do you think about all that?
I think he's 100% correct. The problem is, how do you get people to engage with a smaller game and a different game? The reason I love video games, and I assume one of the reasons you love video games, and then probably the reason you love video games to some degree, listener or viewer, is the fact that games are so diverse and there are so many things. You know, when I start monologuing to somebody new explaining it, I'm always like, there's a game for any mood you're in, and I love that. That games can make me cry, they can make me cheer, they can do all the stuff that movies can, right? And so you need this diverse portfolio of it. The problem I have, not with what Sean's saying, because Sean, I think, is very much preaching the word we would preach.
Yeah.
And very much, it's always funny of like, he's doing the thing I do of like, well, if I was in charge, it's like, well, you were in charge, and you did leave abruptly, and then they did do this live service stuff. So is that really, is that what happened with the Sean Layden timeline, where it was like, I want to keep making single player games, it's working really well, and they were like, fuck you, do live service. Like, I don't want to do this, I'm out. And then they're fucking, no one's happier about watching PlayStation flounder right now than Sean Layden, just sitting there with his scarf on, because he always loved that scarf. I think he's right, but I do think the problem becomes, how do you make people understand? How do you make people care about this? This is the age-old problem that Apple, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo have wrestled with their stores. People always say they want discoverability, but how many times do you, and maybe not you, but a normal person, Poe, my friend who plays 3 games a year, sign onto your PlayStation, go to the store, and browse? It's not Blockbuster, right? That's what Netflix does really well. It's what Game Pass does to some extent. The problem here is that the indie marketplace is so fucking incredible right now.
Yeah.
There are so many amazing indie games, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, people who would watch or listen to Games Daily, but like when you say indie, so many people think of pixel art, simple platformer, an iPhone game. They don't think of the plethora of amazing indie games that are out there right now. Sea of Stars, right? Whatever you want to jump to and talk about. I don't know how we take that indie marketplace and make it make sense to the mainstream that have these boxes and get them to go do that. So the people who did buy a PlayStation for Hogwarts Legacy or for college football go, I want to go play other stuff and look at all these cool things. The AA space is an interesting one to get into, where in reality, I think indie for me, AA still has the less than smudge to it. When I talk about a AA game, I'm talking about a game that doesn't have the polish of a AAA game, but also doesn't have, I feel often, have the charm of an independent game. And so I really would, if I was in charge, if I'm PlayStation right now, fuck, we're canceling all these live service things. What are we doing? I'm like, we are funding our first party studios to make the big crazy games. And then we're going out or partnering with smaller studios, whether they be AA or independent, to make interesting things that we can have exclusive that we can talk about. And that includes funding the cool ideas of the indies. But I do think it also is cool. Let's open up the war chest of PlayStation IP.
Oh, yeah.
The audience isn't hankering necessarily for a new Medieval. But if we talk to an indie, if we talk to a AA studio, let's get pitches for that. I would very much Marvel Studios it, of like Marvel Games it. Hey, we have all this stuff. Give us your pitches. And I want pitches from the people who just did Fear the Spotlight, Cozy Pal Games, right? I want the 2-person studios, and I want the Saber Interactives coming and being like, we have a great idea for what we would do with a Ratchet and Clank, what we would do with a Jack and Daxter, what we would do with a Patapon, right? And really go, okay, cool. Let's figure that out. Let's figure out a way to package that where you drop into your PlayStation and we're showing you that there's cool shit happening for somebody out there, even if it is like, God bless you, Mark Cerny, and everything you did to architect this PlayStation. And the people, like, we hate activity cards. We hate the hint system. I would much rather, this fucking AI, everybody's always talking about it. I don't, AI is happening no matter what. Yeah. I would much rather an AI on my home screen be like, hey, you've put in 70 hours into Elden Ring. This is just a terrible example because you're probably a gamer who knows all this stuff. But that you put this much into football, college football, Madden, right? Here's something that people who enjoy that game enjoy these games, right? And like, this is on sale today, or this is on PlayStation Plus. Like, try to bring people in that way to like really make an ecosystem that's responding to you and what a PlayStation player is. Because to jump back, I don't think a PlayStation player is a Concord player. I don't think that was what we need. I don't think a Fair Games player is going to be a PlayStation player.
I think so. Like, I think the point to a PlayStation player is no Concord player is interesting because I do think a PlayStation player is a Call of Duty player. A PlayStation player is a Fortnite player. And I think there's the space for that. But I'm also fascinated by, I guess, where indie games are at today. Because to your point, right, like the idea of servicing, hey, you're a Madden player, right? You play 40 hours of this. Hey, maybe you'll like X, Y, and Z thing. Yeah. I'm of the mind that like if you're somebody that plays Madden, if you're somebody that and I say this, I play Madden. I like college football. I like all this shit, right?
Dozens of hours do I have in WWE 2K? Like we're not knocking sports players.
Of course,
it's just we're trying to find a mainstream solution.
But I feel like that player that we're talking about that probably mainly plays those things. I don't know if we're gonna get them to play a little to the left or gonna get them to play.
But that's what I'm saying. You need.
But I do think there are plenty of people that do play indie games. Like it's so fascinating to meet somebody, learn that they have a Switch and ask what they're playing. And like a lot of the times when that happens, they are playing. Like I bring up a little to the left because I have a friend that like the one game they played in the last year is a little to the left on their Switch, and they might play one game a year or something like that. Yeah. And I think there's when I think of an indie game today, it's been interesting to see the definition kind of evolve and change because I think oftentimes we think about a Hotline Miami, or we think about like an Inscription or like a Devolver Digital game or an Annapurna thing. But today, I think indie game more so even means like all the games Mike loves, right? It's the fucking only Up and Chained Together and like Power World, even though Power World's an interesting one. We're going to call that indie.
But we're getting back to like when Insomniac was indie before PlayStation bought it. Like,
but I do think like a lot of those survival games, even or like simi type stuff, or like the definition has grown so much, and I think the indie market has grown so much that my thing is with the indie market isn't those games not being surfaced to people. Of course, they can always be surfaced to people in a better way through browsing and all that stuff, right? Like I'd love for the stores to be better, but I think it's more so just that there is such a buffet of choices, and it's so difficult to get seen when it is, all right, I'm gonna make my cozy game. There are a billion cozy games. Like I'm gonna make my dating sim. Oh man, there's a million dating sims can be. Like the competition is just too great.
100%.
And I think that puts us in a difficult place as far as like getting those games in front of people. But I 1000% agree as far as I think PlayStation is missing out on an opportunity to have a Marvel Games thing where it is, let's let people, even if it isn't Ratchet and like your biggest IP because you want to protect those or whatever.
How the fuck do we not have a Parappa the Rapper?
That's my
what the fuck?
Parappa the Rapper. I know I bring up Dark Cloud a lot, but I think there's a space, right? If you put that in the hands of somebody of an indie dev and go, hey, like make this, it doesn't have to be the highest budget thing. Like, let's just see what people think about a new Dark Cloud.
I think to iterate on this and have do you want to go to ads, or do you want me to iterate for a second here?
Iterate for a second, yeah.
Because it's going to be a bigger topic, but I can set it up and we can figure out where we want to go with it. I think what's interesting about this is Sean Layden's being very clear, right? He said platform holders must do more to reconstitute a AA gaming category, right? Mm-hmm. And what that is 100% true, because if you are the gamer we're talking about, where you know that there's a million indie games and you know there's so much amazing shit going on, where are you playing them?
Probably on your Switch or PC.
Your PC is where I would go, right? You know, even Switch, which is...
I guess Switch, I'm thinking more casual, but yeah, you're talking about the
indie is a platform. Switch does a great job of supporting indies. They, you know, the indie world, they do all that stuff, right? And then it's varying degrees between Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation of who's supporting which indie and how it is. But there's no one turnkey you can go get everything. When you go to Steam and you look at stuff on Steam, there's so much fascinating, amazing, just incredible talent and ideas and dynamic games over there. And when people are like, oh man, just no games are coming out, or oh man, I'm really worried about the industry, I never am, because of what's happening on Steam. And to see this solo developer make the best horror game of the year, you know, whatever you're going to go through and talk about, whatever category, it's like, holy shit, that's happening. And then you have these third-party publishers. This AA, we're not making enough money thing is strictly a PlayStation, Xbox, and I'm not going to toss Nintendo in here because Nintendo's always doing their own weird thing, right?
I don't think Nintendo has that problem, honestly.
This is a PlayStation thing. And I think if we're talking from Sean Lay's perspective, we're talking about PlayStation right now. The solution is, I do firmly believe, open up the war chest and let people play in your sandbox with these ideas. Because those are the things you actually have. And those are the ones where you can go find the cool AA dev, the cool independent dev, and say, all right, what would you do with this? And make something interesting there. Because inevitably, the barriers to entry for an independent developer getting their game to PlayStation or Xbox or whatever are so varied, whereas with Steam, there's just nothing. It's so easy to get your game up on Steam and go. So you will never, unless PlayStation 6 is, it runs PlayStation and it can boot Steam. You can play Steam on this thing. You're never going to catch that, right?
Yeah.
So you need to then, you understand you've lost that. You've lost that market. The coolest games on Steam will hopefully eventually come over here. But if you're not going to finance them and give them the PlayStation Plus deal, they're going to go to Game Pass or they're going to go to Nintendo, because that's how these always work, where it's like, we announced some games come to the other platform. Like, wasn't that out a year ago? Not on this one. It was. So either if you're not going to chase that and you want to try to fill this in, then you got to do the war chest thing. But back to the first story, PlayStation is never going to make an 800% profit on that. They're never going to make, this is what we talk about, right? Where we're talking about shareholders. They all want more money. They want year over year growth. They want it, like, that can't exist forever. And it has for a while, but now we're seeing, it had for a while, now we're seeing the ramifications of a plateau and what that means. And the panic of these big businesses trying to figure that the fuck out.
Yep.
And so really what you need to do, which is impossible, is get the genie back in the bottle, PlayStation to accept it, eat shit, do whatever they need to do to get back to, we're going to have a little bit of profit and that's going to be okay. And I think that what we're pitching is the way to do it.
This episode's brought to you by Phasmophobia. The genre-defining horror game is finally out now on consoles. Yes, that's right. The phenomenon that is Phasmophobia has finally entered console early access on PS5, PSVR 2, and Xbox Series X and S, with full cross-play support across all platforms from day one. Join the already almost 20 million players on Steam, including our very own Snowbike Mike, and get ready for some spine-chilling ghost hunting with up to 3 friends. Experience the horror as you investigate immersive haunted locations and gather evidence to help you succeed. With several different ghost types and unique traits, no ghost hunt is ever the same. Making sure you work as a team and utilize your equipment is the key to making it out alive. It's time, Ghost Hunters. Phasmophobia is out now on PS5, PSVR 2, and Xbox Series X and S. Gather your friends and prepare for the terrifying ghost hunts that await. This episode is brought to you by New World Eternum. New World Eternum is a thrilling action RPG experience for console and PC players with a vibrant world, vast and beautiful setting, dynamic real-time action combat, and the freedom for players to choose how to forge their destiny. Combat is skill-based and dynamic, incorporating swords, guns, and sorcery so that you can build one character to rule them all as you explore Eternum and unravel the mysteries of the supernatural island that you can't leave. You love playing RPGs alone? You can in New World Eternum, or play cooperatively with your friends as you complete quests, get better gear, and level up. Greg played this at Summer Game Fest on PlayStation 5 and was caught off guard by how much he enjoyed it and how many hours he said he could see himself sinking into the final product. There's boss fights, cool enemies, crossplay, resource gathering, and crafting. So yeah, this sounds like a Greg game. New World Eternum is available now on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC.
You just remember something?
Yeah, I meant to wet down my hair. Look at these flies. I need a haircut so bad, but as I've talked about on this shit, or Greg Way, and a little bit, like, there's just no time to do anything. There's no time to do anything.
Yeah.
So I can't get my haircut because then I wouldn't be watching Agatha, and I gotta.
What if you multitask?
Dude, there was at the old studio I looked into having on Yelp a barber come and cut my hair during a game daily.
How'd that go?
I got as far as looking at it, and I forget what stopped me.
I feel like
I need to wash my car for Halloween because I want to put my Ghostbuster decals back on, but I'm filthy. I wouldn't have time for that.
To wash your car?
Yeah.
There's a car wash down the street.
I know, but it's the one with the spray one you do on your. I don't.
It's the one that you drive through.
But I got the hutch on the top, so like I broke a car wash. So I can't do. I know I can't do that.
How long ago was this?
It was. I'll never forget. It was right after I watched Morbius.
Oh, so this wasn't even that long ago.
Let me set the stage.
So you broke a car wash with your current car.
Let me set the stage. Okay,
your current age.
I had to go watch fucking Morbius because everyone here likes to torture me, and Tim wanted to start this interview show. And like 5 years ago, I was like, that's a great idea. Now I'm just fucking miserable.
You're stuck.
I'm miserable.
Tag out. Tag me in.
Nah, I'm kidding. We just like to. I blame Tim every time there's a bad thing I have to watch, and then I don't give him any credit when I enjoy the thing. Anyways, though, so I go and I watch Michael Morbius Morbid Up, and I finish this thing, and I'm like,
you're like, I gotta get my car clean.
Again, there's no time in my life to insert chores. So I went to see Morbius by myself Thursday opening night at like the 10 o'clock show. So it's midnight when I roll out. There's no cars on the road or anything. I'm like, hey, I'm going to get
out of all the times.
I'm going to stop and go through. Oh, it's like it's a big deal. I'm going to roll through this car wash right here, right? I'm like, great. This is awesome. Whatever. I get in there and I go and I'm just going and it's, 12:05 or whatever. It's the middle of the night. And we're just going and then it's just the ka-chunk. And
that would freak me the fuck out.
Yeah, well, I didn't take it well in the moment. I was like, what the fuck just happened? And what had happened, of course, is that I'm dumb, and I didn't think about this. I mean, it's so ubiquitous having the stupid thing on top of your car, the hutch, right? I'm like, clearly, car wash technology has come far enough to understand that, right? No. So what had happened is the spinning thing came across and went up my hood, and then got stuck underneath the top of my car and underneath the fucking hutch.
Oh, that sucks.
So then I had to, pop it in reverse when I was on the track, or to pop it in reverse and get back, and then the thing was like, and I think I reversed all the way out, and then then I pull up, and it's 12:30. There's one attendant in the fucking car, the inside the gas station.
Yeah.
I park, and then my car is just covered in soap.
Jesus Christ.
There's no way to get it off.
Have you not told this story before?
I don't think so.
That's hilarious.
I don't know. Maybe it was a Greg way. So I get out, and I think I might have. It might have been that I was wearing. I would have been wearing a hoodie, and I take the hoodie off. And I'm rubbing the soap off with the hoodie. And the gas station attendant comes out, and to this guy's credit, never talks to me. Comes out, looks at the car, and then maybe I think he got his manager or maybe another attendant from the back. They come out, they look at the car, and then they walk into the car wash or whatever, and I just got it and drove away.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't even talk to anybody.
He's like, I've seen this a million times.
You should put a fucking sign up, don't have a hutch on your thing.
I mean, that's fair. They don't tell you not to do that.
And it's like, I still wonder. Because again, like...
You should try it again.
What I do now is I take the fucking thing off and I go there. So it's like a whole production, right? But then there's the one down the street that you do yourself.
Yeah.
What I've done a few times. I did it shirtless with Xavier Woods that one time. For my birthday.
I missed this.
It's when I hit Tim's car with like 15 pies.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. I vaguely remember this.
He was so mad. You know what I mean? But there's got to be. I'm looking over here for anybody. No, he doesn't mean. No, he doesn't. Nobody's saying I'm right. There's got to be.
Also, I want to acknowledge this. There's been an argument in chat that's been pissed me the fuck off.
Sure, get him.
About whether or not Metaphor is AAA or AA. And I can't stress to you enough how AAA Metaphor is. Like, it's not even a question of... When you would talk about a AA... Like, what's an example of AA game? Because I would say Life is Strange.
Sure.
Would be AA. Or like a Banisher's Ghost of New Eden.
I would jump in and say pretty much anything from Saber Interactive.
Yes.
Not in an insulting way. Space Marine, right?
Like I think people are looking at the like maybe the environment visuals.
I can't tell is Barrett's disappointed in me or if he's
he's
thinking,
disappointed in chat.
YouTube chat is like 2 for 2 on just making me fucking insane this week.
Like Metaphor,
give out your home address.
Metaphor is a 95-hour JRPG, and not that every 95-hour game is like AAA, but like it's 95 hours with very high production, crazy ass music, anime cutscenes. Like that's
a lot of animated cutscenes as well.
Yeah,
you know, it's a great example of double A. Double A is that new Quiet Place game.
Oh, okay. I'm not even seeing. I don't even think I know how that looks.
I don't know if it ever got reviewed. It's definitely out now. I don't know how it did.
They forgot to release it.
It was one of those where they didn't send out a copies where like, not
a lot of people are saying Helldivers 2.
Yeah. I mean,
we're all arbitrary.
Talking, yeah, exactly. We're talking about like something you know when you see it.
Yeah, it's like
AAA, I mean, I feel like the easiest way to describe AAA is that it's coming from obviously the first parties or one of the big second party publishers or third party publishers, right? A Capcom, Sega. Yeah.
I can get down with that. But yeah, Metaphor, like unequivocally, I would say it's AAA.
Doesn't have the
it's not even a
graphical
question.
fidelity of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, though, Bless, so it can't be AAA.
To be fair, I get people.
It's not pushing the boundaries of fidelity in 2024. That means it cannot possibly be AAA.
I was listening to a podcast that was having a different conversation, but I think it's similar in spirit about like what makes you an A-list celebrity. And like they were arguing about whether or not Chris Rock is an A-list celebrity.
Yes.
It was very interesting.
Today?
Yeah.
I think when you get to Chris Rock level, for me, an A-list celebrity is you're gonna skip the line. Everyone knows. Everyone knows who you are.
Like if you see them walking down the street, more than likely people will recognize who they are.
100%.
And it was like I think Chris Rock was like the line that kind of broke the room, and it turned into a thing of like them being like, no, like it's Beyonce is a AAA is an A-list celebrity. Obama, right? And like because Chris Rock isn't as recognizable and as famous as Beyonce or Obama, people are like, no, he's B-list. This conversation reminds me of that, where just because Metaphor isn't Final Fantasy, when you look at it.
Oh, I'm sorry, real quick. Jesus says, who cares?
It's
so
a podcast.
Let's just end the podcast. Why are you here?
Hold on.
Games are coming out. Just buy them.
There, you don't buy them.
Yeah.
It's about the band.
No, I don't even know. It's
they're getting a timeout.
They're a good one. They're a good one.
I know, but they're still getting a timeout.
Even good ones have bad times.
Come on.
A quiet
This is all part of the conversation. These podcasts are just for, the shits and giggles.
All we're trying to do is distract you from the horrors of life. All right.
Wait, you want to talk about layoffs?
Quiet Place: The Road Ahead has a 68 on Metacritic. Not bad for a horror game.
68? I feel like that's not great.
I mean, it was not a 90, but I mean, like, I think horror games like that are few and far between.
You tell me a game's a 68, I'm like, I don't know if I got to play that. Unless
but that means
something
it's like
I'm
so
really
mixed,
into.
right? Where it's like, what do you got in here? IGN Doucheland gave it 70.
That's my favorite outlet right there.
Oh, Kiki Brat gave it a 1, so there you go.
Jesus. Ain't no way. Kiki Brat? Who's Kiki Brat for what outlet? Say the outlet.
I don't know. Metacritic. Oh, it's a user review.
Oh, it's a user. I was about to say, ain't no way like in a published outlet is giving a Quiet Place game a 1 out of 10. Let's move on. It's funny. I had way more to say about the last story, but I got so sidetracked by the car wash thing that I can't remember any of my points.
Right now, it's a 7 out of 10 on Steam.
Okay.
GameSpot gave it a 6.
I feel like I've asked you this before, but did you end up watching the last Quiet Place movie?
I did.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was enjoyable, but I've never thought about it again.
Okay. I'm a Quiet Place fan, but I didn't get around to watching that one. I think that one was also on the plane.
Let me check. That might be one of those ones where it was like we wanted to watch it and I had to buy it.
Like it was in theater. Like, you're not a theater person, are you?
Yeah, well, with the kid, it's so hard. And so then when movies we want finally come to Amazon, but it's like, it's gonna be $30. You gotta own it. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I would have paid more than that in the theater and everything else. I just bought Alien Romulus. What a fucking film.
Dude, I went to Venom last week with a group of people. Finished it. And like unironically, there are 2 people in this group who I respect and adore that were like, man, that movie sucked, but at least it wasn't as bad as Alien Romulus.
What?
Yeah. They were like, Alien Romulus to them was so bad that it was worse than Venom 3. And I was like,
wait.
I've not seen Alien Romulus, but there's no way that's true.
Wait.
What up?
Are these 2 people I know?
No.
Okay, good.
I think you know of like one of them.
Okay.
Okay, I did not buy it.
But there's like new people I'm hanging out with, and I'm like, oof, I'm around the
that
wrong
way you just
crowd.
walk out. You just walk out.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta go.
Oh, guys, you know what? I left my oven. I'll see you later. You never answer their calls again. You never talk to them again.